I thought it was going to be very simple. Like, I've seen Law and Order, I thought it was going to be very similar to that, but the more we started looking in depth at photos and scrutinizing every single little detail, there was quite this variety of photos we had to look at, such as like crime scene photos and photos of the girls and photos of them before everything happened to them. And seeing the changes in the before photos to the after photos, that was the hardest part. And we heard a lot from different witnesses, from cops who have been cops for a long time, and they could barely hold themselves together. And I was just sitting there, this little 18-year-old girl, trying to figure things out and keep everything straight, and it was difficult.
How did you deal with it at the time when you went home?
I was living with my now still boyfriend and then another roommate, and I was not allowed to disclose any information to them at all. And that was hard for me because I needed to get things out of my brain. I would go home and I'd be in tears for a few hours because I couldn't analyze everything with a clear head, and I'd have to eventually. I did end up talking to them a bit. I had to, or else I would have not been able to go back the next day. It was very difficult for me. I was having nightmares and haven't stopped having nightmares of the case, and it started about a week in, and it hasn't stopped.
Was there any support offered to you from the legal system?
There was no support at all. There still hasn't been. We haven't received a letter or anything. Nothing reached out even a year later. I have tried reaching out to the police victim services. I've tried reaching out to the courthouse, seeing anything that they offer, and they have nothing for us. For support, I think that there needs to be counseling provided. I know that in other provinces there is, and I think it really should be provided, and at least a helpline for us to have. It's just something we can talk to, because there's so much that we have to analyze and go through over the 3 weeks, and I know that there's some trials that go longer than that. There's some that go shorter, but there needs to be support. I'm just a regular person. I don't have the training to deal with this. I don't know what to do, and I was stuck with just dealing with it by myself.
What kind of nightmares do you have? You said you're still having nightmares.
They are varied. The most common one is hearing the girls. I've never heard them, but my brain makes up voices for them and tells me about things that they've gone through, and it's usually just me not being able to save them. I know that they're trapped in a room somewhere and I just can't get to that room. There's more detailed nightmares, but that's the most common one.
If someone approached you and said, I've been called for jury duty, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that they need to think about their decision before they go in there. They need to just not watch Law and Order before. They need to be prepared for the worst. And if they really think that they can't do it, just don't do it. Explain to the judge, they'll listen. You don't want to put yourself through a situation like what I did, because I thought I was going to be doing the right thing, and doing the right thing ended up harming me.
And you saw Dan Kozine, he spoke about PTSD, and what did you think when you saw him telling his story?
I completely understood. I have the exact same things. He was describing the one girl's face and how he felt remembering back and looking at the photographs, and I go through the exact same thing. I'm really happy for him that he was able to get the support that he needed, and honestly, seeing that has helped me decide that I need to go get help myself.